Good morning and welcome to Monday Morning Thoughts. Today I want to talk to you about perhaps changing careers and changing sector and perhaps doing something a little different than you've done before. I think there are a lot of people at the moment who are potentially in the unfortunate situation of coming off furlough and being made redundant in sectors that have been particularly hard by COVID and are thinking of doing something else. And secondly, there are those individuals whose work probably feels different in this new world of working remotely. A lot of the elements of our work that may have been an important part of our day, the social activities of those people in the office, meeting after work, the hustle and bustle of, being in a different environment compared to working at home, that might feel really different when we're just left with the work in front of us, rather than everything that was wrapped around it. And if we're all going to think about doing something different, in quite simple terms, although it isn't easy, we need to have a starting point and an end point so that we can navigate a route. No different from, using your sat nav to some extent. It needs to know where you are and it needs to know where you're going to go. And quite often, we don't take enough time to consider where we are. The skills, the capabilities, our strengths, our values, our motivators, really taking ownership of all of that, knowing what makes us tick, knowing confidently what we bring to the table to offer another employer. And some of you might be even triggered by me saying that confident to bring something to the table. And secondly, we need to know where we're going. You can't navigate a course somewhere if you do not know where the end destination is. And that again can be quite tricky to work out what we want to do next, especially when we're in a situation where we don't want to do this anymore and you're trying to get away from something rather than move towards something. Because we can get really caught up in this loop where it's the better the devil you know. Because not knowing where you're going is uncertain. If you haven't got a destination in mind, you don't know really what you're aiming for, then it's quite uncertain as to how you're going to do it, how long it's going to take, etc., etc. A whole heap of uncertainties at a time when we're surrounded by uncertainty anyway. So we're then left in this situation where the devil you know seems the best option. There's some of you out there that have done that for a while. I'm sure there are. I've done it. It passed in my career. But knowing where you are and where you want to go are the key elements of moving and finding that new job. When you've got both of those points, the how comes much easier. So I'm probably going to talk about this a little bit more next week as well. Otherwise, I could be here for quite a long time. And I'm trying to keep these fairly short and snappy on a Monday, just to give you some food for thought. So this does carry on a bit from one of my earlier Monday morning thoughts, but really try and work out this week, if you are in that position where you're thinking about change, thinking about doing something different, I want you to think, where are you now? What have you got to offer another employer? What do you bring to the table? Really think about it, because you have. There's loads of skills and experience that you've got, but you're potentially not owning it. And you need to. That's a really important place to start. Things that I don't know, and vice versa. And that happens throughout the working world. And don't come at this from a less than perspective. You've got so much to offer. There are so many skills and capabilities that you've got that don't just sit within your sector, don't sit just within your role, that other employers are going to want. and appreciate. So really focus on that. And then try and think about, if you are in a I don't want to do this anymore frame of mind, what really is it about what you're getting away from? What don't you want to do anymore? Really try and drill down and think what that is, because there are going to be elements in another job that might replicate that. So you really need to identify what doesn't motivate you, what doesn't engage you, so that you can avoid that and you can try and find something else that doesn't leave you in the same position. I've spoken to a number of people who over time potentially end up exactly where they were before. And only by understanding ourselves and being more self-aware can we prevent that happening. So please, please, please think about something this week that you're awesome at, because there is something that is your superpower. It sounds all a bit over the top and a bit American, but there is something about you that is different. There is a strength. There is something that you do that makes you you, that makes you different from everybody else. And other people will want that in their organisations. If you are trying to get away from something, try and pinpoint what that really is. And I don't mean the surface level, I mean underneath that. What really is it about that work that you're doing at the moment that you don't want to do? Is it the work itself? Is it the organisation? Is it the way that it's managed? There are lots of layers here that you need to try and unpick to work out what you don't want to replicate in your future role. So all the best for this week. I know lots of you are potentially in a situation that's going to change completely as a result of some announcements today, and I'm thinking of you. But remember, there is something about you that is awesome. Have a good week. Bye.